Good morning, everyone. I'm Gausya Mukhtar from Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute of Medical Sciences and Technology, and I'm thankful that I have been given the opportunity to present my study, Clinical Profile and Outcomes of Cardiomyopathy in Children. Surprisingly, the research available on pediatric cardiomyopathies, especially from India, is scarce. And this is the largest study on pediatric cardiomyopathy from a South Asian population. The aim of the study was to describe the clinical profile and the outcome of cardiomyopathy in patients less than 18 years of age when compared to historical cohorts. All patients were diagnosed with cardiomyopathy from the year 1990 to 2020, that is over a period of 3 decades, were enrolled. As we see, the major exclusion criteria were congenital heart defects, anthracycline exposure, tachycardiomyopathy, and infant or diabetic mother. The outcomes to be studied were death from heart failure, sudden cardiac death, ventricular arrhythmias, AV block, and requirement of CRT, ICD, or transplant. So total 233 cases of pediatric cardiomyopathy were identified. DCM was the most common, that's 51%. HCM constituted 27%. RCM accounted for 14%, which means that RCM is more common in our population than in other parts of the world. LV non-compaction made up 5% and 3% were the other rare types of cardiomyopathies. 12% of our HCM patients presented in the neonatal period and total 37% presented in infancy. These may present metabolic cause of HCM. Earlier studies have not reported on HCM presenting in the neonatal period. Family history of cardiomyopathy, family history of sudden cardiac death, and syncope were more common in HCM patients. Syndromic, metabolic, and other causes were identified in only 16% of all and 25% of HCM patients. Noonan syndrome was the most common syndrome found. Among the RCM patients, 4 had biopsy-proven endomyocardial fibrosis, and 1 patient was found to have Emery-Dreifuss muscular dystrophy, though it's rarely documented in same. Among the DCM patients, 5 had myocarditis satisfying the cardiac MR diagnostic criteria. 1 patient of DCM and 1 patient of LV non-compaction had carnitine deficiency, and both were reversed with carnitine supplementation. 1 patient of LV non-compaction had a PRKAG2 mutation, though this mutation is classically associated with HCM. Coming to HCM patients, though it may not be possible to enumerate all the data that was studied, I will just try to highlight some important points. 50% of HCM patients had LV outflow tract obstruction, which is much less than what has been documented in adult HCM literature. 2 had burned out HCM, 26 underwent cardiac MRI, out of which 61% had late gadolinium enhancement. Coming to RCM patients, features of myocardial ischemia like ST depression were more frequent in RCM than in other types. Coming to DCM patients, as we see, ST depression is much less common in DCM. 24 underwent cardiac MRI, and out of which 50% had late gadolinium enhancement. Coming to LV non-compaction, none of our patients had significant congenital heart disease, as this was an exclusion criteria in the study. A significantly high percentage of our DCM cohort were on ACE inhibitors and beta blockers, and this is reassuring. Coming to outcome, among the DCM patients, over a mean follow-up period of 3.29 years, 27% were lost to follow-up, and among the rest, 36% recovered and 45% died. Coming to HCM, over a mean follow-up period of 5.6 years, 33% were lost to follow-up, and among the rest, 26% died. Among the RCM patients, over a mean follow-up period of 3.7 years, 54% were lost to follow-up, and that is quite high, and among the rest, 53% died. Coming to LV non-compaction, only 1 was lost to follow-up, and among the rest, 60% died. Sustained ventricular arrhythmias were more frequent in DCM patients. Only 2 had left bundle branch block, which is quite low as compared to what has been documented in other DCM literature. Among the HCM patients, 2 underwent septal myectomy, and both are doing well on follow-up. AV block was more frequent in RCM patients than in other types. Among the various postulated risk factors, it was infantile onset that had a significant relationship with death or ventricular arrhythmias, while as in HCM, it was a history of consanguinity, and in RCM, it was history of syncope that showed a trend towards higher event rates. Earlier studies have not reported on pediatric arrhythmogenic ventricular cardiomyopathy, while as in our study, 5 cases were identified. We also report 1 case of RV non-compaction and 1 case of atrial cardiomyopathy. Summarizing the outcome, the 5-year survival in HCM was 83%, in RCM it was 75%, and in DCM it was 59%. Overall, the survival was worse for RCM patients, whereas for DCM patients, the 5-year survival was worse. Sudden cardiac death was most common in HCM, whereas 50% of RCM patients also died due to sudden cardiac death, and that is quite high. Requirement of CRT, ICD, and transplant was most frequent in RCM patients. Comparing with other studies, so these are population-based studies, the survival in DCM and HCM was comparable, while the 5-year survival in RCM may have been overestimated due to high percentage of patients lost to follow-up. The limitations of the study were that it is a single-center institution-based study with high attrition rate and lesser number of patients were screened for metabolic abnormalities. Concluding, this is the largest study on pediatric cardiomyopathy from South Asia. RCM was more frequent in our study. Overall, survival was worse for RCM, although the 5-year survival rate was worse for DCM patients. The survival in DCM and HCM is similar to other studies, whereas in RCM, we may have overestimated survival. Infantile onset was significantly associated with death or ventricular arrhythmias in DCM patients, whereas among the HCM patients, it was a history of consanguinity, and in the RCM patients, it was a history of syncope that showed a trend towards higher event rates. Thank you.